when we're dealing with what are called systems of equations. Equations are what we've been studying for forever. Y equals mx plus b, ax plus by equals c. All of those types of equations we're going to be writing. But when we're dealing with what's called a system, highlight the word system for yourself. A system of equations. When we're dealing with a system of equations, what we're talking about is two or more equations. So in one fell swoop, we're going to be writing two equations. Now the way that we write an equation is the following method. You're going to define your two variables, and defining variables is a fancy way of saying that I want to list out my two variables in words. I want to write down what those variables represent for me in this problem. Then once we have them listed, we go back and reread the problem, and we can write a system, which is two or more equations, using the information they give me. In general, there are three types of equations we will write. The first type of equation looks like this. Does anyone remember what this kind of equation is called? Slope. Thank you. Slope-intercept form, because it tells me a slope and an intercept. There are words that translate from word problems to both the slope and the y-intercept. On our DCP, you guys actually scored really, really well on the question that did this, so I'm not going to be super picky about this one. The word that means slope might be the word per, or does anyone remember anymore? Each, every, or at a rate of. Yeah, these are the things that we're going to know mean our slope. These are the words in word problems we're looking for that know that that's my slope, that we're going to multiply the x variable by that number. There are also words that are going to translate to my y-intercept. Since my y-intercept is also my initial value, we can look for the word initially or begins or starts, yes. Or in word problems and in very much situations when you're purchasing things, you might also see flat fee. Has anyone heard of a flat fee before? Okay, you've totally done one before. Have y'all ever ordered a pizza? Yeah. You know, they're like, all right, a cheese pizza is $7 and it's 50 cents for every topping. Right? Your $7 flat fee is the cost no matter what, how much it costs. But then your slope adds more on top of it. So if the slope is the 50 cents and your pizza has a flat rate of $7. It's what it starts with no matter what. It's our y-intercept. It's our initial value. It's the flat fee. This happens a lot with, like, if you take a taxi, it's like a flat rate of $2.33 per mile or something like that. So it's a flat rate no matter what you have to pay, and then the slope goes up depending on the amount of time you're in the taxi. The second type of equation we're going to write are my personal favorites. Does anyone remember what this equation is called? No, not point slope form.
I think I know.
Standard form. There you go. It is ABC order. It is called standard form. You don't have to know that, but it's there. It's on your formula chart. Angel found it. This is standard form. Now, standard form is just a game of organization. Let's say that you're reading the word problem, and there are three numbers with dollar signs next to them. Dollar sign, dollar sign, dollar sign. There's always going to be a dollar sign number that goes with the x value, a dollar sign number that goes with the y value, and a total dollar sign number. So you just have to organize your information so that dollars stay with dollars. Money must go with money.
Money, X, money, Y, money.
There are also times when we're going to be talking about certain items, maybe questions or pieces or wheels or random items that we're talking about in our question. But if you have a number that means that item and another number that goes with that item, you better make sure that it's equal to or total number is still that item. So we're organizing our information by what it is. Those numbers go in the same equation. And then also, you might be writing a total equation. So if you're told, like, you're measuring, I don't know, the number of questions and the number of questions total, when we're making a total, all we're going to do is add up the values, x and y, or whatever letters you're using, to create a total amount of things. X plus y is the total amount. We'll do tons of examples of these because they're my personal favorite. But we have one more type before we move on. Your last type of equation is called an other. It doesn't actually have a name. But do you guys notice this like balancing scale down here next to it? Has anybody ever used a balancing scale before? Yeah, so if I looked at this balancing scale, which side, the first side or the second side, would I need to add something to so that it balanced back out?
The second.
The first side, because it's like weight. If you put stuff in the first side, it's going to get heavier and it's going to balance back out. You're going to have to write equations that balance each other out. And we're going to physically lift our arms up and do this. I'll show you all an example right here. If I say that x is 3 more than y. Okay, if I say that out loud, we want to write that into an equation. The word is always going to be my equal sign. Once you get this written down, I want you to put your hands out like you're balancing weight. Okay, everybody's doing this. This is the easiest way to remember how to do this. Your arms are out. This first side, shake one of your arms. This is going to be x. Shake your other arm. This is y. All right, let your scale be balanced. The sentence says x is more than y. So what's going to happen to the x arm? It's going to weigh more, so it goes down. So which side do I need to add something to make it balanced? The y, the second arm. So this equation is x equals y plus 3. We had to add something to the y arm so that they would balance back out. This is one of my other equations. I don't want you to write this one down, but I want you to watch as I do it. Maybe my sentence says, dogs are 7 less than cats, which is totally false. Dogs are always better than cats, but whatever. So we make our arms. Your opinion is wrong. So we make our arms the dogs and the cats. Put your arms out. Right now, shake one of your arms. That's dogs. Shake your other arms. That's cat. If we say dogs are 7 less than cats, what's happening to this dog arm? Oh, it's less than. It's going up. It's lighter. So which side am I going to have to subtract from to get them to balance back out? The cats. So I'm going to say dogs are 7 less than cats. I have to subtract 7 from the cats to get them to balance back out. Do you see how the arms work?
Stop laughing.
Do we need one more arm example?
Yes.
No.
Okay, one more arm example. You don't write this one down. Again, just listen. Let's say, what should my things be that I'm measuring?
Banana and orange.
Okay, bananas
And grapes.
are 8 more than grapes. Okay, bananas are 8 more than grapes. Show me your bananas and grapes arms. Which one's bananas?
This one.
Grapes is?
This one.
All right, bananas are 8 more than grapes. What happens to the banana hand?
They go down.
It's heavier because it's more. So which side do I add something to? So I'm going to have B is G plus 8. That's the math sentence that matches that English sentence. We will get some more example problems going on. But do y'all see how the balancing scale works? Sweet. Maybe.
If I say yes, I would be lying. So I'm going to say no.
We will do some more practice problems, and if at the end of class it's still not clear, we will talk about it.
Yeah.
Find yourselves on the inside of these notes, please.
Oh, man.
We're going to do this first example about adult tickets, okay? The first thing we do is read the question. I'll read it out loud for you today. It says,
No, it's not.
adult tickets for the school musical sold for $3.50 and student tickets sold for $2.50. On a given night, 321 tickets were sold for $937.50. you right. The first thing we have to do is define our variables. What should we let X and Y stand for?
The money.
Okay, so here's how we decide this. There's a lot of things happening in this question, but what are we measuring? What are we counting? What is our data?
Music sold.
They are musical tickets. What type of tickets?
Student tickets sold.
Student tickets and
Adult tickets.
okay, so I'm going to let the X be the adult tickets. I'm going to let Y be the student tickets. I actually want you to write out what each variable represents, because then you know how to put your math sentences together, your equations together. Once we've defined our variables, we reread the question and we're going to highlight things that are important. Numbers are important and labels are important, and maybe some whole sentences are important. It says adult tickets for the school musical sold for $3.50 and student tickets sold for $2.50. On a given night, 321 tickets were sold for $937.50. What do you notice about the three things I've highlighted in red up there?
They're not money.
They're money.
Wait.
Guess what? Money gets to go together. So the $3.50 was what kind of ticket? What variable represents X? Very good. That's my adult ticket plus $2.50 student tickets, or Y, for a grand total of? Absolutely. Now, if you think that you would do better if you left the dollar signs on here, I will let that be okay for now. But if you are using this on a test, answer choices will not have the dollar signs on there. And if we're using this next class to solve an equation, you can't type the dollar signs into your calculator or into Desmos. So just know that those will disappear. But if it helps you right now to write them, cool beans. Now we have one more number up there because we have one more equation to write. A system has two. We have 321 tickets. Where else do you see the word tickets?
Adults and students.
Oh, so we're saying a total number of these tickets is 321. How do I write a total equation?
You gotta write it up.
X and Y and total. X plus Y.
To total something up, we add them together and we get the total. Yeah, if you have a bucket of things, you want to add them up, you're getting the total number of things that are there. So if we want to write a total equation, we just take the first variable plus the second variable for the total that it tells me in the problem.
Okay, so just 3 point 50. No, you need the X's. Oh, so now you can.
So now we could solve this. We're not going to solve it today. We're going to solve it next class. All we're doing today is writing the equations. But before we go on, now that we know what our variables are going to stand for, okay, nickels and quarters, I totally could have used X's and Y's, but I decided to use N's and Q's because I get to make that decision as long as I define it that way. We reread the question. It says Sydney has a collection of nickels and quarters for a total value of $4.90. She has 42 coins total. Those are the only numbers I see in that problem. Okay. So we got to figure out how many nickels and quarters she has. Again, we're not solving it today. We're just writing it. Now, in the question before this, we had money numbers and we kept the money numbers together. What if I told you there was actually 3 money numbers in this question?
What?
There are.
Yeah, because 490 is the nickels and quarters. You just confused me. Hush up.
Okay, listen. There are 3 money numbers in this question. 2 of them are not shown to you, but you have to know them.
I know them.
What is a nickel?
25 cents and 5.
A nickel is 5 cents. How do I write 5 cents as a dollar?
0.5.
Ooh, no.
0.5. No. 0.05.
There it is, 0.05.
0.05.
That's a nickel. 0.5 is 50 cents. 0.05 is a nickel.
And then
That's the
highlighter. You know, say it.
0.25 is a quarter.
Yeah.
Okay? So knowing what nickels and quarters are is important in this question. Because now, don't we have 3 money numbers?
Yeah.
Money needs to go with money. So we would write an equation that is 0.05 with what letter next to it?
N.
N plus 0.25 Q for a grand total of $4.90. $4.90. Again, if you want to put the dollar signs there, you're totally allowed, but it won't work next time. The next sentence says that we have 42 coins total. How do I write a total equation?
X plus Y equals. Or N plus Q.
Okay, yes. So everyone's saying X plus Y equals the total, which is true, but this time we're not using X's and Y's. We're using N's and Q's. If I had labeled them X's and Y's, then that would have been correct, but I decided to call them N and Q. That's my prerogative. I decided that. Now, when I'm asking you to write a system of equations, which is what I'm asking you to do today, that's all I'm asking for you to do, is just write the two equations that would make that make sense, that would represent that in real life. All right, after Sydney's question, we're going to come down here to the algebra teacher question. Find the algebra teacher question. This question says, your algebra teacher, that's us, decides to give a test worth 100 points, and it contains 25 questions. Multiple choice questions are worth 3 points, and word problems are worth 4 points. We need to write two equations that represent this information. The first thing we have to do is define our variables. We're going to use X and Y again. The two things we're talking about are multiple choice questions and word problems. There are points going on, but that's my item. Now we reread the questions to highlight important information.
125 points.
Hold on. Your algebra teacher decides to give a test worth 100 points. We're highlighting both the word 100 and the word points. It contains 25 questions. Multiple choice questions are worth 3 points, and word problems are worth
4 points.
What do you notice about the words that I highlighted in red?
They're all points.
They're all points. Guess what? That's my items that need to go together. So if we write that in an equation together, 3 points for every multiple choice question, which is X, plus
4 points
for every word problem. My favorite calculator.
equals 100.
Wait, for what?
4y.
For Y, because that's the word problems, equals 100 points. I've put all of the items together that are called points.
3x plus. Ooh, wow.
And then you want your total.
We do, yes, when we write the total, Mickey's correct, we're just going to add up the total number of multiple choice questions and word problems for a total of 25 questions. That's why when we label these, we label them correctly. I'm putting all of the questions together. Multiple choice questions plus word problem questions for a grand total of 25 questions.
You.
Okay, with your face partner this time, so say what's up to your face partner. Oh, that's who we worked with before. You are going to be doing, we're going to go back over Sydney's question and your algebra teacher's question. Yes, yes. So, person A, you have Sydney's question. You're going to have 45 seconds to talk your whole way through the question. And then partner B, you're going to have 45 seconds to talk the whole way through the algebra teacher question. All right. I want you guys to practice what you just tried and what you just talked through with your partner. You guys have Ralph's question. Do y'all see Ralph down here in the corner? You guys have Ralph's question. I want you to read his question and write the two equations that go with Ralph.
Ralph is broke.
Yeah, Ralph doesn't have much money. Go for it. So here's Ralph. Ralph has $1.65 in nickels and dimes. So we need to define our variables. If you decided to use X's and Y's, that's cool. I'm going to use N's and D's. Okay? Because N will help me remember that I'm talking about the nickels, and dimes will help, or D will help me remember I'm talking about the dimes. How much is a nickel worth in dollars? Sweet. How much is a dime worth? Absolutely. So, we reread the question. It says Ralph has $1.65 in nickels and dimes. Here's nickels. Here's dimes. For a grand total of 25 coins. We have to keep all of the dollar sign numbers together. So we would say that if I did 5 cents or $0.05 for every nickel and $0.10 for every dime, that if I added all of that up, Ralph would have $1.65. Did we get the first equation?
Yes.
Yay.
Wait, what?
Now we need to find the
Now we need to find the
Ooh, I did it right, miss.
we need to find the total. Total is just taking the variables and adding them together for a grand total of 25.
Oh, I am so smart. I never knew I was so smart. Well, I never heard of
All right, we're going to go up here to the what is this called? Recording studio. So the recording studio question's a little bit different. If we read it, you're going to see some key words that are going to jump out at you. And we will reread it and highlight those words. But it says a recording studio charges musicians an initial fee of $50 to record an album and $75 per hour for the space. They also charge $3 per hour to park in the parking lot. What are the two things we're talking about or measuring in this question? I see hours.
and then initial fee.
Yeah, we're dealing with cost to record here. So we're going to use H's and C's to talk about the hours I'm recording and the cost of that recording. I could totally use X's and Y's if I wanted, but I'm going to use H's and C's to help me out here. Now we reread, and we're going to highlight the important numbers and words in this question. A recording studio charges musicians an initial fee of $50 to record an album and $75 per hour for the space. What's so special about what I've highlighted in the first sentence?
Well, initial fee you add, and then 75 per hour you add.
The per is the slope. I'm multiplying it by the x, or in this case the hours. And initial is my y-intercept, so that's the number by itself that I'm just adding. So we're saying that the cost of the entire expedition to record at the studio is $75 per hour and a $50 flat fee. If I used x's and y's, that would be y equals 75x plus c. Plus 50. Now the second sentence says they also charge $3 per hour. I see another per word, so is that a slope or a y-intercept?
a slope.
Per is a slope word, so I know that's a multiplying or a slope word. Do they tell me anything else about an initial fee for this parking? No. So I don't have a y value. That's okay. Or a b value. So I'm going to say that the cost to park is $3 per hour. I could put plus 0. I could. I'm not going to, though. Because 0 is 3h plus 0 is still 3h, but it does tell me that the y-intercept is 0. Okay? That's the one where we're looking for y equals mx plus b with a slope and a y-intercept.
Wait, did you just solve that?
You guys have the power company question. I will tell you there's only one equation you're writing here, not two, just one. But I'm gonna let you guys work on this one for about 30 seconds to a minute. See if you can write the one equation that comes from this sentence. All right, so let's see how we did. It says a power company charges $22.80 for every hour of electricity use, as well as a $105 startup fee. Well, I can pretty much use the same thing as the last question, where I have H and C for hours and cost. If you wanted to use X's and Y's, that's totally cool. I'll write both equations so you can see. Now, the key words when I go back and reread this question say that the power company charges $22.80 for every hour. What is for every? Tell me. What kind of word is this?
That's the B.
For every? For every is a slope word. Every or each or per, that's a slope word. What kind of word is 105 startup fee? That's the B, the y-intercept, because we see the word start. So we're going to say that this equation would be the cost is $22.80 per hour plus that 105 startup fee. If you used x's and y's, yours would look like this. Y equals 2280x plus 105. How did we do? Those of you who made mistakes, do we see why? No. Can you ask a question then? All right, so we're going to go over to the next questions on the other side. These have come from STAR tests in the past. Now, here's the thing. If you look at this on a STAR test, how many of you guys would look at that and go, I'm not reading that, circle something and move on? Okay, here's the problem. These are very easy questions if you would just read them, because they make a lot of the same errors in the wrong questions when they're doing them. So if we know how to fix these errors, we can guarantee we get these easy questions right. Read along with me. Read along with me. It's a blurb, but we can read it. It says, a sports magazine prints 12 issues per year, and a technology magazine prints 10 issues per year. The total number of pages in all the issues of the sports magazine for 1 year is 32 more than the total number of pages in all the issues of the technology magazine for 1 year. Each issue of the sports magazine has 18 fewer pages than each issue of the technology magazine. Which system of equations can be used to find S, the number of pages in each issue of the sports magazine, and T, the number of pages in each issue of the technology magazine? That's a whole lot. But let me show you how easy this is. They already told me what to label my variables as. What letters did they use?
Each issue of the sport magazine is T.
Oh, T and
One small note, just this is a side note. If you make T's in math, do you notice how all of these T's are a little bit curved? Okay, and do you see how I wrote my T as like a curved T? I'm doing that on purpose. My normal T's do not look like that. But if you put plus T on something and you don't curve the bottom of this T, it's going to look like plus plus, and you're going to get way confused. So, when you're writing T's in math class from now on, I want you to curve the bottom, because then we know that it's a T and not a plus sign. If you already do that, then that's great. Sorry, side note. Now, we said, based on this question, that S is the number of pages in a sport magazine. And what does T stand for?
the number of pages in technology.
The number of
No.
pages in issue of the technology magazine.
Number of pages in the tech magazine. Cool. We go back, and now that we know what we're looking for, we read and highlight important sentences and important numbers. It says, sports magazine prints 12 issues per year. Technology magazine prints 10 issues per year. Total number of pages in all the issues of the sports magazine for 1 year is 32 more. So this is sports is 32 more than technology. Let's stop right there and let's write that equation. If we want to have 12 for every sports magazine, how would I represent that in math? 12S. 12 for every sports magazine. How many for every technology magazine? 10T. 10 technology. Look at your answer choices right now. 90% of the time, you can at least eliminate half the answers when you write one equation. We didn't even finish writing this equation. But we know that 12 has to go with S and 10 has to go with T. So is this one okay?
Yep.
Is this one okay?
No.
Cross it out. It's not that one. Is this one okay?
Yeah.
Is this one okay? No. All right, guys, we already got 50-50 shot of getting this right. We didn't even finish writing the first equation. Let's look at the second part of this sentence. It says each issue of the sports magazine has 18 fewer pages than each issue of the tech magazine. Fewer tells us we're going to have to do the balancing act. So we're going to get our balancing arms out. Get your balancing arms out. Shake one hand, that's sports. Shake the other hand, that's technology. This sentence says the sports magazine has 18 fewer. What happens to the sports hand? It goes down because it's, oh wait, fewer is up. It's weight. Fewer is up. So which side do I also have to subtract from? What's in the other hand? What's in this hand? The tech magazine. So if we wanted these to be the same, we'd say that they're the same when I subtract from the T. So which equation or which answer choice has to be correct? A, because this part is right. This one is wrong. We didn't even have to finish writing all the equations, but what we do know is how to put things together with what they belong. And we know how to do the balancing act with our arms.
Yes, fine.
We're going to go over the next question. It says, a drummer and a guitarist each wrote songs for their band. The guitarist wrote 8 fewer than twice the number of songs that the drummer wrote, and they wrote a total of 46 songs. Which system of equations models the situation if the drummer wrote D songs and the guitarist wrote G songs? They already labeled the stuff for me, but I'm going to write it down. I have D and G. That's a Q, Miss Quigley. You're right. What does the D stand for? Drummer. Songs. What does the G stand for? The guitarist. Songs. Okay. Let's read the questions again. We highlight or underline what's important. Drummer and guitarist each wrote songs for their band. Guitarist wrote 8 fewer than twice the number of songs that the drummer wrote. Let's write that one. Fewer means we're going to have to balance it out. Get your balancing arms up. Okay, drummer, shake one hand. Guitarist, shake the other one. The guitarist wrote 8 fewer. What happens to fewer? It's lighter. So which side do I have to subtract from to get them to balance? The guitarist. So I'm going to write the equation that the drummer is equal to the guitarist. Sorry, wait, whoa. Guitarist, my bad, y'all. Guitarist was the one that was up, so which one do I have to subtract from? The drummer. So the drummer is equal to the guitarist if I subtract 8 from the guitarist. Is that right? Did I do that right?
No, the guitarist is equal to the drummer.
Thank you. I can math. We said we were going to subtract from the drummer, and here I am subtracting from the guitarist. Okay, but it says guitarist wrote 8 fewer than twice the number of songs that the drummer wrote. How do I do something that's twice? Multiply by 2. Okay, so let's look at our answer choices. Can we eliminate something that does not have G equals 2D minus 8? Yeah, those two are gone because their first equation is completely wrong. The second sentence here says they wrote a total of 46 songs. What do I do to make a total?
D plus G equals 46.
So out of the 2 that I have left, which one has the correct total?
Okay.
G.
F.
Yes.
It's F.
I'm telling.
Okay, we're going to skip the clothing store question, and we're going to go straight down to the spiral notebook question. Huh? No questions?
Like, no questions that you don't even have to do.
Oh, we're not going to do the clothing store one. This one says, a new spiral notebook contains 30 more sheets of paper than a new memo book. The total number of sheets of paper in 3 new spiral notebooks and 5 new memo books is 810. Which system of equations can be used to find S, the number of sheets of paper in 1 new spiral notebook, and M, the number of sheets of paper in 1 new memo book? Well, they told us what these letters are. What letters am I supposed to be using here? S and M. What does S stand for?
Sheets of paper.
Sheets in what?
Paper. Oh, wait, what?
In a spiral. And what does M stand for? the sheets in a memo.
Oh, wow.
The sheets in a spiral versus the sheets in a memo book. That's what it told me, but I write it down again anyways. Now we can go back and read it one more time to highlight what's important. New spiral notebook contains 30 more. So spiral contains 30 more sheets of paper than a new memo book. That's a balancing question because we said more. Yep, your arms are already up. Okay. Spirals. Memo book. It says a spiral contains 30 more. What happens when there's more? Boom, it's heavy, so your arm goes down. So which side am I going to have to add to get it to balance out?
The memo.
The memos. So I know that this is S equal to M
Plus.
plus 30. We add 30 to balance it out. Spirals already had more, so it's heavy. So we add some to the memos to get our arms to balance. Can we eliminate some answer choices here?
Yeah. J and G.
And H.
There's something that looks like this question?
F and H.
They look exactly like this.
No.
We says S equal M plus 30. Does any of my answer choices say that?
No.
What do you notice about all the answer choices though?
They do the other way. S equals M equals F.
That's a plus sign. Mine says equal.
You gotta do with J and G. So you're gonna have to figure out the other way. Yeah. You
Okay.
gotta flip it.
Here, what do you mean by flip it? I think you're on the right track. What do you mean by flip
You
it?
got it. You got it. I don't know.
Are you saying take this M and move it to the other side?
Oh yeah.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
And how are we going to move this M to the other side?
It's gonna be a subtraction.
Yes. Inverse operations is how I move letters and numbers from one side of an equal sign to another. Can I actually do S's minus M's? No, so I just put them next to each other. S minus M is equal to 30. Which one does this match now? Okay, can I eliminate G and J?
Yes.
All right, because this is not correct. We didn't add them together. We're subtracting them if they're on the same side. I got a 50-50 shot of getting this right. Let's keep reading. The total number of sheets of paper in 3 new spiral notebooks and 5 new memo books is 810. Why is it F?
Yeah, why is it?
Because
Let's write the equation. So if I have 3 new spiral notebooks, what's the letter for spiral notebooks?
3S.
And 5 new
5M.
memo books, that's M, is 810. What's wrong with H?
It says 5S and 3M.
They switch the letters and numbers. That's going to happen a lot. That's something we can look for to eliminate answer choices. This is not correct because of here. That means F has to be correct. They switched the answer choices.
Okay, so what if it had the right number and letters together, but like had the numbers switched?
Like if it said 5M plus 3S equals 810, that's still the same equation. They wouldn't give you both the one we circled and what you just said. Here's what's going to happen. If you are sitting in a desk labeled A, you've got the drummer and guitarist question. If you're sitting in a desk labeled B, you've got the spiral question. We're going to be talking to our shoulder partner. Say what's up to your shoulder partner. You're going to be shoulder partners with me. Okay. Partner A has the drummer and guitarist question. You're going to have 45 seconds to talk through the whole thing. You don't have to read the question to them. Just tell them how we wrote the equations. Okay. Partner B, you have the spiral notebook question.